Superintendent of Hanover Horton Schools, John Denney. Hi, John.
Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Awake and here.
I want to thank you for the hospitality you've shown us, of course, throughout your entire career, but especially last week when we were out doing the game against Napoleon. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Felt bad for the, almost looked like the Ark sitting there in that pond and mud around it.
Hey, we have had some wet setups the last few weeks, but it comes with the territory in Michigan. But
Expensive electrical equipment and some rain.
yeah,
was
no
the
big
problem.
deal.
No, you guys did a great job. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you.
John is in his final year as superintendent at Hanover Horton Schools, and already they've chosen your replacement, someone you've known for many years.
Yeah, Denise Bergstrom. Next to Coach Dean Blackledge is the longest serving employee we've had in the district.
That's great.
She actually student taught, I think it was in the winter semester of '91. Probably not happy if I throw too many dates out there, but that's all right. But she actually had one of our board members when she was student teaching in the class, and our high school principal was one of her students. That when Linda Bryan retired 12 years ago, she wasn't interested in trying it, and decided now's a good time for her. And she loves the community, loves the kids, and I tell people she's definitely, everybody always talks about your Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
When it comes to school administrators, Denise is up there with them. So
I've talked to some of her former teachers, or former students, over the last few weeks, and really has the respect of her former students. They love her, very well liked.
yes, they know where her heart is.
Yeah.
A really cool and seamless transition. They interviewed no one else. They hired her on the spot.
That's the way I would do it if I could. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
and they
great.
actually followed suit with how it was when I stepped in.
Sure.
That the board reached out to see who was interested. I was the only internal candidate. They did it before a board meeting, appointed it to that meeting, and had a few months that time, not quite as long as what Denise will have, but it's going to work out good. That I'd include Denise in on a lot of communications. We've had a lot of weather discussions the last few days too, to kind of get her up to speed on some of the thought processes and that.
Yes, and hi to your predecessor, Linda Bryan, enjoying the show from the Villages in Florida.
Hopefully it's warmer and drier for her than it is for us.
Well, 12 years, what a great run, and of course we'll be talking to you before you retire, but we're going to check in with mid-year, see how things are going. First, let's talk about the Comets and the winter sports.
Yeah, I had a great win last night, girls basketball. They were battling, they had to lead most of the first half, lost it right at the tail end of the half, and battled back to take a nice win. Boys have been fighting tough. That was a tough one against Center the other night.
Yeah.
Classic Michigan Center Hanover basketball game,
Right.
though. Back and forth, big shots, and they hit a couple more than we did. And cheer team is doing well. My daughter's kind of the team manager with that. She
Cool.
didn't want to do the competitive cheer right out of the sideline season, and then about Christmas break decided that she wanted to be involved. But wrestling's wrapping up, and we got some real strong wrestlers too. It's kind of one of those where it's a good day to be a Comet.
Got a lot of kids that participate in a lot of not just athletics but extracurriculars at Hanover Horton.
We do, and the big thing is just getting kids involved. Giving them that extra sense of belonging. And the research is out there that shows how much lower the likelihood is of not just a dropout, but staying away from drugs and alcohol and other risky behaviors. And that sense of belonging is huge.
Yeah.
Got some, I think a couple of ballot proposals coming up.
We do. They're both connected to the same idea. That last May we went for our operating millage, and we tried to do it in one proposal. Tried to, the hard part is operating millages are about as clear as mud when it comes to trying to understand them.
Right.
That everybody just assumes we get a certain amount of money per pupil, and that's how the funding is, but the state makes us collect that local operating millage off the non-homestead properties. So we passed our initial millage that we're currently running on back in 2015, and you see there 18.5912 mils. I'm not sure how it came up to that number, but that was a number we were given to run for. And due to the property values increasing faster than inflation, we kept getting those Headley rollbacks. And right now that just under 0.8 of a mil is costing us about $60,000 in lost revenue. So last year when we went for a new proposal, we went for a 20 mil just to get us back to the 18, which the most we can levy is 18 mils legally. It doesn't matter how many operating millages you pass, you're capped at that 18. So this year we're going for a renewal as one proposal, so that'll get us back to the 17.2144 that we're at now.
Which would be full funding from the state.
No.
No?
The 17.2 leaves us to 60,000
That leaves
short.
you to 60, okay.
The second proposal is an extra 2 mil levy, but it does not allow us to go over the 18.
Okay.
It just builds that cushion in. So between the two, we can get to 18 mil.
Okay.
And the problem is once you roll back, it doesn't automatically roll back up. It's just one of those nice provisions that they put in back when Proposal A went through. And, even though everybody assumes schools get full funding from the state, we're still on the hook for our local collections. And for us, that big chunk, the 17.2 mils, is just about $1.5 million of our operating expenses. And on just around a $12 million budget, you're getting in that 12% range pretty quick. To where we're good for this year's tax collection, but by the time 25 rolls around, that millage, if it doesn't pass, there's going to, you got to take 12% out of your budget.
Right. Yeah.
You don't do that easily.
Bart and I are still under the impression that there's lottery money for all the schools, aren't we?
There is, but
Where does that go?
That comes out of the rest of the money we get from the state. That's
Lottery and marijuana money.
I think there's money there, right?
You think?
You would think.
hopefully.
There's a lot of lottery players.
Aren't there?
There's a lot of marijuana smokers.
Are there taxes on all the online gambling and the Caesars sports books and all that?
I don't know.
Probably self-reported and when you do your own taxes. Right?
Yeah, I think it's the
Yeah.
honor system. No, I don't do that.
Well, this is on the ballot, and you can vote in advance.
Yes.
It's not one day. We've changed our voting laws in the state of Michigan, so you can go in to the township clerk,
Well,
right?
and most of the small townships all kind of got together, and I know I got a flyer in the mail that shows we can go to Summit Townships, one of their precincts, to do the early voting, as well as there's, I think, I can't remember for the Spring Harbor. There's a couple townships that are staying open for a lot of those early things, just because the small townships don't have the staff to handle it. But one of the other pieces that we ran into, we think, with the May election, used to be as you were getting up to your election cycle, you'd put it out in May. You'd go maybe 2-3 weeks before your election. Well, now with the absentee ballots going out and so many people voting for absentee, we had hundreds of ballots that came in before we sent out some of our final just clarifying points on a rather confusing proposal. So we've already got some info out there and we're hitting it now. So now our little flyer says vote by February 27th instead of vote on.
Got it. Well, thanks for coming in today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks, John.
Superintendent at Hanover Horton Schools, John Denney. There's more of the morning show after this.